misogynist, am I? I don't think first of the things she said, I don't even truly believe. If you're prepared to listen to me, I'll explain to you exactly why she's completely and utterly wrong. If you can go through the points again, she said,
do you think you're a misogynist?
Absolutely not. I'm not a misogynist on any level.
People always accuse him of being a misogynist.
Randomly. Homophobic, racist, misogynist.
Homophobic, transphobic.
What is your view of women?
I'm a realist.
What is your real view of women?
I absolutely not only love women. I adore women. I have good relationships with women. Not a single woman has come up to me on the street since I've been cancelled. Not a single one has said anything negative. Every single one of them has said positive things. You're a traditional male. I wish more men were like you. You understand your masculine roles. You understand what you're supposed to do. You understand you're supposed to protect women. You're exactly the kind of man I'd be looking for. I've never had a negative interaction with a female ever since I've been dubbed the biggest misogynist.
I would not say ever. I think that's cap.
Also, there's not been a single woman who's accused me of a crime, not a single woman who's accused me of rape, not a single woman who's come out and said anything from my entire past of 36 years I've done anything wrong ever. Anybody else with my level of fame, any footballer, any other movie star, at least has people who've come out and accused them of rape, X, Y, Z. I have no woman who's come out and ever said I've hurt her. No woman who's come out and ever said I've done damage to her or been horrible to her. Everybody who ever interacted with me has said I've been a nice person. All of that. So this random Twitter nobody who seems to know so much is full of...
All right, you've responded.
Stick up in. If some random person say he's misogynistic, most time they do it for views. So they put it up, maybe in a clip, and then take something out of context of a clip, and then put it up, and then say he's misogynistic, which I've listened to most of his interviews for those who follow Tate. And even the women in his past, they all say he's a good guy, he take care of them, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. If he was this dangerous guy as the media is portraying him to be, you'd have somebody who would have accused him of something at some point. Anyway, and those again, it's the Washington SXM podcast. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Just put that in. Let's go.
It's a head-to-head.
Where
is the line for you between masculinity, which I would
that is a question.
Defend,
what is masculinity?
I think a lot of women like men to be masculine, and what has become known as toxic masculinity. And the reason I ask you is that you are engaged in that debate with men all the time. Where is the line for you where men shouldn't cross, where the behaviour should be kept within a line?
Please define toxic masculinity.
Well, you tell me what you think it crosses a line from being a masculine, good man to a bad man.
There's no such thing as too much masculinity if it's genuinely masculine.
Facts,
genuine
I believe in
masculinity is not out here to hurt people. It's absolutely the opposite. It's out here to protect. And when bad things happen, they call traditionally masculine men. If you need a firefighter, you need a masculine man. When you call police because of the problem you had, you want masculine men. And as soon as a woman or a man is in trouble, when you look for backup, you look for masculine men. And masculine men have a duty to provide and protect those they care about. We have a duty to do things we don't feel like doing because we know we're supposed to do them. And that's why we stayed in the Titanic and died. Those were masculine men.
Where did you get your...
Stick up in. So as I agree with that. A masculine man is supposed to provide and protect at all costs. Women, society, kids, etc. Masculinity only become an issue when someone overstep and pushes the boundary of a masculine man. Then he reacts. So that's different. And that's typically happen between men. So any man who is out there abusing women, those are not masculine men, those are cowards. Because when a man is in his masculinity, nothing a woman say to him can trigger him to the point where he gonna attack her physically. Me personally, when a woman says something to me that I like, I just stop, watch them, and just walk away. Nothing hurt more to a woman than when you walk away or you don't respond to them. Trust me. Because when I was younger, when I just started dating and I didn't know much about women, I had a girl break up with me because she said that I'm too nice. So again, nice guys don't get women. Feminine guys don't get women long term. If you do get a woman, those women end up always cheating with a masculine men anyway. So either way, you lose. So you have to just be in your masculinity, provide, protect, serve. That's basically my definition of it.
All views about this from?
This is what I grew up with. It's the family I grew up around. And
my father.
Yeah, and the world I lived in. And I think a lot of the things I'm saying now about masculinity and how people should act in the world, how the world should function, were considered completely normal and accepted by everybody only 20 years ago. I think the world's just lost its mind. For me to stand up and say a man should protect a woman now gets to be called a misogynist and canceled. If I said that 10 years ago, everyone would say, duh. And what's funny is, everyone who argues against me and says men shouldn't protect women, especially all the feminists, if they were with their boyfriend and a man broke into their house, guess who they'd expect to go downstairs? Who do you think?
Stick up in. most people like to use the analogy. So when someone break in the house, who go downstairs? Well, since as we don't have upstairs and downstairs here in the Caribbean, we mostly have a flat. We have a few people with that. But anyway, my thing is, if you go out in the road and a man try to slap your woman body or disrespect her, typically she's gonna look to her man. She's gonna what a woman always say. I'm gonna call my man for you. Or I'm gonna tell my man. Most time that's what most men back off when they hear she says she's gonna call her man. Cause once a woman is dating someone, the man typically don't disrespect them on that level unless they know the man and the man is feminine. Again, femininity, feminine men do not serve the purpose in the world. That's just my view. So yeah, cause if I went to talk already with my wife and we was by a supermarket and I wasn't right next to her, but I could see her from where I'm at. And this guy said something and she flip out and then she go up in the guy's face. So when she went up in the guy's face, I walk up closely to her, let's say around 2 meters, let's say 6 feet from the guy. And I watching him. And when the guy watched me and I watched him, he see who I am, he realized that's my woman. And he relaxed his posture and then my wife was going in. But he knows when I walk up to him, all I said is don't touch her. And that in itself show him back up because he realized a masculine man is around. So in that case, women always look to the men, even though women don't admit it, but when a man is around, they are different. And also, yeah, they are different. And also, with don't forget, feminists always say they don't need men to protect them. But yet, so when something happen, who they call? The police. Who are police? Masculine men. Or something happen in the house, they call a firefighter, or they call a plumber, or they call an electrician, or they will call a mechanic to fix the car. Yet they say they don't need men, but yet they calling men to do all these things for them around the household, typically.
Think they go themselves? Are they going to Afghanistan? No, we send men to do these things. So
well, we send women in the armed forces too.
That's a cap.
You have to generalize when you make points.
There are many courageous people.
Exceptions do not disprove.
Don't make the rule.
No, but you've got to concede there are many courageous women serving the armed forces.
Absolutely and utterly, completely correct. But by and large, traditionally, soldiers are men. Exceptions do not disprove the rule.
Throughout history.
Well, it's not an exception. It's
stick up in. Also, I did the research on this. There's around 25% of female in the army overall, in the Navy, the Marines, the Armed Forces, and Air Force, right? But out of those 25% women, only 6% of that is on the front line. So 93% of men are on the front line, and 6% of women are on the front line. So that's an exception. That's a tiny proportion. And recently too, in the States, they had these 2 women who completed the Ranger course. I know you have the SEAL, you have the Rangers, and you have the Marines, right? And they said these 2 women passed, but yet they hid the identity and they hid the scores. Because according to the guys who they did the training with, they said that the courses, they allow the woman to redo it, or to stop, or to rest, while the men couldn't do that. So they dropped the level of qualifications for these women just for them to pass. So say 2 women pass. So technically they didn't really pass, but they just used it as a stunt to say women can do what men can do. So look it up. You can see that. You can look it up online. You'll see it. It's in the States, the Ranger School. Check it out.
In fact, there are a lot of women now in the armed forces.
Correct. But if you were to take the average soldier, they are a male. If you're allowed to say who's a male and who isn't nowadays, I'm assuming their gender, I apologize. If you were to take the average soldier, they're a male, which means that exceptions are the female soldiers, which because there's a lower percent of them, a lower probability.
Exceptions are the females.
6%. Men do the fighting. Right now in Ukraine, men cannot leave. Women are allowed to leave because men have to.
I said that earlier.
Women are allowed to go to Dubai. That is how it is.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and...
Stick up in. Facts. To be a man these days is like it's a watered down version of what men used to be. These cowards, these out of shape, fat dudes, and they have no skill They don't have no, like, they don't have no carpentry skills, no mechanical skills, no plumbing. They can't do nothing physical with their hands. These are some of the most feminine men I've ever seen throughout my time on this planet. And not only that, these are the men who want to date women. And when they do date women, they use money as the catalyst to get a woman. So you have these men constantly have to be giving these women money, while these women who they are giving money, who don't respect them, is still going on the side and dating all these masculine men, or these gangster guys, or these hood guys. Because these guys are more rough around the edges, and they excite these women. It's only after a while they want to settle back down with a good man, like when they're in the late 30s, going 40s, that's when they want to have a husband and baby. So, but typically, women goes for those kind of guys. The ruffians, the thugs, you know. So, I will tell this young generation, as a new generation of men, get your money up, as in work hard, invest your money, go in the gym, get fit, stay fit, be responsible, don't abuse nobody, take care of people, and then that will automatically ensure that you get a woman. And then when they see you, how responsible you are, you're fit, you're in shape, you know, you're masculinity, you're not timid, you're not shy. Shyness is not a good thing to be around women with. And boom, Bob's your uncle, you get a girl. It's that simple. Masculine men.
Good-hearted and God-fearing as possible, and I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Dame Sheila Hancock says we've become too over-emotional as a society, crying
Yeah,
too
I hate
much
seeing
about
emotional
everything.
men crying like
Has
a
she got a
bitch.
point?
She's completely right. And the dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty, and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel, and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists.
Facts.
Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to
stick up in. That's what I'm saying. Check it out, especially in the States and in Europe. All these school shootings and all these mass shootings and all. Notice it is always incels. These guys that are timid, or cry, they get bullied and they cry a lot, and they blame the world for everything. And then now what? They get in their feelings, they get pissed off, they get vexed, they can't manage emotions. So what? They act it out in violence, as in getting a gun and go and shoot up a school, or shoot up a mall, or become serial killers. Some of these, and most serial killers are their headspace not there, is not there. So we need masculine men in society, otherwise this society gonna go to the dogs. So we need to enforce masculinity in this young generation and stop telling them you can do whatever you want, you can cry, you can be in your feelings. And stop listening to these feminist women saying that they want a man that's emotional and can cry to them. No, they don't, because the minute they do, they will use it against you. I'm going to give an example. This is what happened with me and my wife. That's maybe 3 years ago. So I met in an accident, and I did a surgery. I did 2 surgeries actually. And after the surgery, I was on they give me morphine, right? And after the surgery, it wore off, so I came home, and the thing was, I was in pain, and tears run down my eye. Yes, she felt sorry for me because I was in pain, so I went by the hospital and she gave me some morphines, and I came back home. And a couple months after that, she used that same thing and teased me about it, so how I was crying. So my point is, women don't want men crying around them because they will use it against you in the future. But she know I'm a masculine man, so she know that was a one-time thing. All the time she was tears on my eyes after my surgery. So, boom. Do not cry to your woman. You're going to feel it in the long run. I promise you that.
And think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings, and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely not wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely on its head. Completely and utterly wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You just suck it up and perform anyway. Not to sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
Tough
or
being a
call out.
woman too in modern society.
It's certainly tough being a woman, but I'm not a woman, so
Well,
I speak issues
it's
I don't
nearly as
understand. I'm a
hard
man.
to be a
You
woman
feel
as a
empathy
man.
for women.
I
That's
feel empathy,
ridiculous.
certainly, but I do not understand their issues.
See, a lot of men come up to me and they admire you. I've got to say, a lot of women I've spoken to don't admire. They think you represent misogyny. They think when they hear you not commit to saying the Taliban shouldn't be banning women from university
Somebody's
education,
phone is
why
ringing. Whose
can't you
phone
just
is
say
ringing?
that's wrong?
Well, firstly, that's not my experience. I experienced the absolute and utter opposite of that.
Stick up in, give me a minute. Sorry about that. My daughter's phone was ringing off the hell. Let's go again.
Secondly, it's because it's a moral point I'm making. My moral point is that I speak on things I understand. I speak on experiences I've had.
But
I
do you
speak
believe in
on-
equality?
I speak, yes. I speak
Of
on-
course,
sure.
we all live
I speak
in
on subjects
equality.
I know intimately. I do not feel qualified. I'm a realist, and I do not feel qualified to sit and discuss the gender laws in Afghanistan. I have not been to Afghanistan.
neither. I've never been
I
there.
have not researched the subject thoroughly. I'm not going to sit here and say how the Taliban
Stick up in. Even though I believe in equality, that doesn't mean I know the plight of a woman. We empathize with them, we have sympathy for them, we'll aid them, but I can't tell what it's like to be a woman. But from where I'm standing, and with my years of experience with women, they don't have it nearly as hard as men. They don't.
running their country. It's nothing to do with me. I find it quite flattering, Piers, that although, I understand I'm monumentally influential, the most Google man on earth, etc., I find it very flattering that you think I have some kind of control over the domestic policy of Afghanistan. But I assure you I don't. I don't.
Most people don't understand that area of the world.
You'd have a view on having influence on a domestic policy. I'm sure the Taliban couldn't give a stuff what either of us say about it. It's just curious to me that it's an easy win for you to make
because
women
it's easy,
think
that
they're
doesn't
not
mean you're going to
anti-
say
that when they're
just
not
because you want to
given
please people.
equality, as the women in Afghanistan
Makes no
clearly are
sense.
not, because they're not allowed to go to university now, as of today, that is clearly unequal.
Stick up in. But notice Prince Margon, he keep enforcing this Afghanistan women can go to university. Whether they go or not, what does that have to do with you and in the Western world? I don't get it. Why you so enforced? Why don't I think about the kids? Like for instance, he's in England, right? Why don't he talk about the kids who don't get to go to universities in England presently, who have the scores and have the education, but because of they don't have the money to pay to go to university, they can't get to go. Why you don't go against the government for that and tell them they must, if once you have the grades and you have the education, you can go to these universities. We'll waive the fee. Why don't he go on that and push that narrative? Why are you pushing this narrative for Africans kind of women that has nothing to do with you?
Unfair. We should all be able to agree that that is wrong.
Well,
yeah, it's
certainly
wrong.
as a
So-
Even you, tough guy Andrew.
It's not tough guy. I am a professional. As a professional, I can state that yes, it is not equal. Yes, it is not fair.
I agree.
That is obvious for anybody. I'm not saying those things are not true. What I'm saying is it's nothing to do with me.
Right, okay, but you made a concession you think is wrong. Then.
I said it's unequal and it's unfair.
Yeah, so wrong.
Well, perhaps.
No.
Force yourself, Andrew.
No, perhaps it's wrong.
It's wrong for
under
you because
certain
you're in the
moral
Western
guidelines,
world and
but the
they
moral
don't live
guidelines
there.
which are currently in charge of the jurisdiction of Afghanistan, they don't believe it's wrong. It's nothing to do with me.
Well, then-
I'm not going to sit here and tell other countries how to run their laws. I'm
Facts.
going to live in
Don't tell other
societies
countries.
with
All right,
laws
I'll
I
tell you
understand.
something. You know what?
Stick up in. Notice it too. Every country America invades, they leave it worse than how they found it. Every single country they have ever invaded. Check out history from Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Africa, Libya. Well, Libya is in Africa, but the different countries in Africa. Africa is a continent. Every single China, Japan, every single country these Americans invade and say they're going to bring democracy, ends up worse off than there was. And every country, they still have bases there. Why do you still need bases in these countries if you say you have a successful war? Well, so you see, that argument he's making makes no sense, because everywhere Western try to impose their democracy, the place end up becomes worse. So what that tells you, we don't know what you're talking about when talking about that part of the world. Leave it alone.
Take unfair and unequal.
Sure.
Because that's self-explanatory. We're going to have a game of chess in a minute after the break.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's where that segment finished. So we'll stop there. Final thoughts. People are up in arms. Even are up in arms about countries we had no power or control over. Look, right now in Ukraine, right? What's going on in Ukraine, the war. France, England, America send billions of dollars to Ukraine. And we just found out in the news that in France, the president of Ukraine's wife went on a 40,000 euro shopping spree. 40,000 euro shopping spree. And I think he have a house worth I think 8 million or something. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he have a house of value 8 million. But yet he's going around the world asking for people to send money to them for what? For your wife to go on shopping sprees? And so why is it your wife don't go on the front lines or don't go out with the shot and build up the confidence? Why is she nowhere near the area? You send her away. And why are you telling other people that they have to stay and fight while you yourself are not engaging in this? You're just going around begging people for free money. So we must fund these wars. And I said we because I'm a taxpayer as well, and I'm in France. So with France, I'm sending billions of dollars. So my money is going into. So I can say this: we have to fund this war that has nothing to do with the Western world, and yet they are still going around asking for money, and they're spending all this money and water up, basically buying clothes. I mean, $40,000 is more than what most people make in a year. So you can't be asking for money and you're spending money to this end. That's until the people you cannot trust government. Especially this Ukrainian, he's using the war as a thing for you not to say no to him when it comes to you for beg for money. Why? Anyway, you don't know what it is. It's the next episode of the Washington SXM. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't know what it is. Peace, one love, boom.